It's the Sean Widmer Podcast. It's a journal by someone that just really doesn't like to write.
Today on the podcast, I want to give a thank you to my dad. Something I've never talked to him about, something I had never thought about, really, until I got a comment on Sean'sLife.com for the podcast that I believe was sent to me to stir the pot, and it got me thinking differently. So I want to talk about that on the podcast today. But I before that, I wanted to kick off with something, because there's breaking news in the Sean Widmer brain with a top 5 list. And I always love a top 5 list. We get people who hate the top 5 lists, so we will continue to do them. I always ask for yours in return, and occasionally we get some. So there was a shift that happened, and it's been brewing. And tonight at my D&D game night, a conversation came up that really pushed the envelope with something, as there has been a shift in my top 5 favorite foods. Top 5 favorite foods. There has been a shift. Again, been brewing. It's just time to make it official on here. Tacos, no longer the number 1 spot on my list. Where did it fall to? Let's get to that right now. Get yours ready. Pause right now if you need to put your top 5 together. We'll do a little Wavelength, one of my favorite games. 2 different versions of Wavelength. Talked about this before. Old Wavelength, where you tried to match your teammates' answers. That version. All right, get your 5. I will say this. The bottom 2 on this list, a little bit out there, but they are things I love. I just think they haven't stood the test of time like my top 3 have. I would probably seek out one of these bottom 2 more than I would number 3. But again, 3's just been there for me longer. And so I've got to give it the respect. It could get jostled. We'll see. Number 5 on my list of top 5 favorite foods is chicken lo mein. I need it with the thin noodles, though. The rice noodles, I need it with the thin noodles. Chicken lo mein, a spectacular dish. Number 5. Number 4, curry. I really like red curry, but if it's going to be a green curry or a yellow curry, I'm going to take either one. I probably want 2 or 3 stars of spice. I want chicken in it. So a chicken curry, if you need specifics, red, but I will take any of them. Holy smokes, I love a curry. Could eat curry every night. Now, to be fair, I could eat any of these every night. They're my top 5 favorite foods. So now we get into some the ones that have been there for me forever. I think curry and chicken lo mein will be there for the rest of time for me. They just got a late start. Number 3, spaghetti. Spaghetti was my favorite through all of childhood, into junior high, into high school. Spaghetti, I love it. Angel hair, regular spaghetti, whatever. Thicker noodles. You give me a spaghetti, a good meat sauce, and I'm set. I can get down with that. I don't even need it to be fancy. I don't need a cool Alfredo sauce, or there's some great ones out there. You go on Instagram, there's some great pasta dishes that use spaghetti noodles, and they're so good. But I can get down with just a meat sauce and spaghetti noodles, and that's it for dinner, and I am set. Number 3, spaghetti. Number 2, dropping from number 1, number 2 is tacos. And I can't believe I'm saying it, but it had to be done. It had to be made official. Tacos, my second favorite food. I have realized there are tacos I love. The tacos my mom makes, the tacos that I learned from her to make at home, they are my favorite thing. But that is a specific taco. When I go out to restaurants, I'll order tacos. I don't like them as much. There's times I do, but it's kind of risky. Trying Torchy's Tacos down in Texas, when my buddy Kenny opened my eyes to Torchy's Tacos, that place is magical. I love those tacos. If every taco was like Torchy's Tacos, they would probably stay at number 1. But I've had too many bad experiences. From great to bad tacos is way too big of a gap for it to be number 1. Because I can't trust it like I can trust number 1. Because with number 1, I can go get it always and dig it. The number one spot on my top 5 favorite foods is pizza. It just is. I think I've tried to avoid it forever because it's kind of cliche. A lot of people say pizza. There's a reason why. It's the best. It's the best food. So this came up in conversation tonight. Matt doesn't listen. The guy who runs our game doesn't listen, but Matt had 2 Domino's pizzas, and I am in a bit of a try to get my body right mode right now, where I'm eating pretty healthy because I need to lose some weight to help with my hip that caused some lower back issues so that I can play basketball. And so I'm in this kind of mode of just trying to make sure I'm not getting crazy with what I eat. And he offered Domino's pizza tonight, and saying no was the hardest thing I've ever done because it looked so good. And he had a Hawaiian pizza, and I think he had like a meat lover's pizza. And of course, the conversation started about a Hawaiian pizza. And a Hawaiian pizza's a top-notch meal. It's a great pizza. It's one of the best kind of pizzas you can get. And of course, there's 3 people at the table who don't have any taste. They obviously lack in creativity, and they hated the Hawaiian pizza. Oh, anti-ham. Oh, pineapple. What are you talking about? It's great. It's okay. We can't get into that too much because I'll get dunked on there. And Matt and Kristen and Jacob will reign victorious, and I don't need that. I just need them to know they're wrong, and Hawaiian pizza is great. But pizza's good. Pizza's great everywhere. We started talking about great pizza places in Lexington, and it's funny because there's so many answers, and we kind of settled on they're all pretty doggone good. And that goes from a fancy pizza place. Like we went to this place called Pearls, super fancy pizza place. They had good pizza. And then I'm a sucker for Domino's. I'm a big time sucker for Papa John's. Give me that pepperoni. Get me that garlic butter dipping sauce. I love it. Pizza, number 1. It's taken over. We had to get that out there. I had to clear the air on it. It's been brewing for about a year. And it was just time. It was time. That said, I'm ready to make tacos. To make my tacos, to revisit it and be like, okay, wait, these are actually really stinking good. Okay, so we're gonna get into, I guess it's my Kelly's What Are You Into? And kind of, let me send I tell you, every time I'm recording, I gotta send a message. All right, here we go. Sent. All right, cool. I ask at the end of let me see. Okay, Kelly's What Are You Into? We're going to get into Kelly's What Are You Into? It's my dad tonight.
Kelly's What Are You Into?
We need to do an episode of just your Kelly's What Are You Into? Everyone sends in their Kelly's What Are You Into? Brought to you by Kelly, longtime listener of the podcast. Wanted to name a segment after her because she had mentioned she liked when I was talking about what I was into, so we named the segment after her. Because this segment went away, she brought it back. So she got the segment named after her. We try to do it every episode now. And I would love to do one where it's just everyone sends in what they're into right now. And if I ever get enough of them, we'll just do that episode. And that'll be fun. We'll judge people's things that they're into, hopefully positively. Okay, so I'm into my dad, and I want to give him some love, and I want to talk about something with him that I never have talked about. I haven't thought about it before until I got somebody in the comments. They commented over at seanslife.com, put the name Coach in, and they sent a comment that I know is either from someone here in Lexington who's in the inner circle, who's just trying to stir the pot, or one of my buddies back in Spokane who has heard me talk about this and wanted to stir the pot. And I don't want to take the bait on it. I'm going to mention some stuff, but the only thing that really diving into this could lead to is people getting their feelings hurt, because a lot of times when you talk about stuff people are passionate about and you try to explain it where, hey, I think the way you think about things is totally fine, but I think differently, people just get offended, and it's crazy. So I don't want to get into that tonight. But here's what the message said. It was from Coach. And it said, happy birthday to Woods. 2 more years until he's in the Lexington baseball scene. Okay, so I've been vocal about this. And it's not bad, but I think it's been perceived as bad, probably because I'm aggressive with just my tone and how I talk. I understand that. So it comes across as aggressive. But one of the things I learned when I got to Lexington is the kids' baseball scene is wild. It is wild. And it's funny because it now, like the Little League World Series that I saw on TV, my whole life growing up, you would see a lot of teams from the South in there. It makes sense to me now. It's a big deal here. It's huge. And so, I've got brother-in-laws and buddies here in town who have kids playing in it, and it's their thing. It's what they love. It's what they live. And just I know that this is what people were looking, whoever sent that was trying to get me buried for it. I love that they love it. Do I love it? No. Do I want to talk about it? No. But I love that they love it because I love that they have something they're passionate about. And that's fun to talk about with other people who are passionate about it. I've got things I'm passionate about. I love talking about with people. Andy and I are going to talk ad nauseum soon about the college basketball video game that's getting re-released. And there's going to be a ton of people who are like, what are you doing? That's a terrible thing or a boring thing to me to hear you talk about. Well, that's fine. That's fine. So the thing is, it's a lot of people who love the baseball world. Their kids are in it. They're, coaching or at every game. And, it's a lot of talk about, okay, well, what about this coach? A lot of talk about other coaches, a lot of talk about players. And to me, that's just not my world. And it's probably because I didn't really grow up in that. And when I thought of that, I was like, what did I grow up in? And I realized I owe my dad a huge thank you for something, because when I think about my kids and how I want to approach them with sports if they get into it, it is very different from what I would say. I don't know if it's a Lexington thing, if it's a global thing. I feel like, a U.S.-wide thing. I think it's more U.S.-wide. I just found a pocket of people in Spokane who thought a little more like me, and it was a big group of friends who did this. But I think even up in the Pacific Northwest, the thing I feel like here where parents are very involved in their kids' sporting lives, I think that's just a universal thing. It's a parenting thing. My dad, I was looking at it and it's a little different, and I wanted to thank him for this because I think it will be my approach. And I'm not saying either way's right or either way's wrong. In fact, they're probably both right. The end of the day, the only thing that really matters is as long as you are doing stuff with your kids and the end result is you love them, and that's the reason, and then whatever, who cares? That's the thing that matters the most. That you love them and you want the best for them, and you are putting them in a position that they can be happy, right? Be happy and feel like they were a kid growing up as a kid, and that's all that matters. So anyways, I was thinking about my dad, and my dad coached me in basketball through the majority of my life. He was a basketball coach in Spokane or outside of Spokane. Before I was born, when I was really little, and we still lived in the States, he was a basketball coach, teacher and a basketball coach, and a good one. And when we moved to Venezuela, he obviously brought with him a skill set of being able to coach. And in the small boarding school, you've got staff members who have done all kinds of things. My dad has a skill in coaching, and so it's like, okay, well, Tim is the coach for a lot of the sports, especially basketball. So my dad always coached the basketball teams, and so I had my dad as a coach when I was really little. I had my dad as a coach when I was middle aged, and I had my dad as a coach all through my high school years, and I absolutely loved it. Right, he's my coach. But it's funny to me, looking back at my life in sports, I don't really think of my dad, my sports memories with my buddies going through elementary school, middle school, and high school. And I loved it. I loved those years. I have so many amazing memories of playing basketball in high school, so many amazing memories of specific games, specific plays. I don't have a great memory, but I loved it. But it's weird to me. My dad, as my coach, was never the memory where I'm like, oh, my dad and I were way like, that was it. We bonded. My dad and I are great friends now because he was my coach, and it was great that he was my coach. I did love it. It was cool, but that wasn't what mattered to me. What he did, and the thing I'm going to do, the way I approach it, and again, all that people are hearing is me saying, if you coach your kids, you're a bad person. Not the case. I think it works for a lot of people. Again, the caveat was already in there. Love your kid. Do what's right with your kid. That's what matters. But for me, and maybe this is something for people who are only believers in You have to be on the sideline 24/7. For me, what really worked and why I, last night at 43 years old, drove out to play hoops at 8 o'clock, played for 2 hours, and wanted to play for 2 more. And woke up today craving more basketball, wanted to play more. I truly love the game of basketball. I love sports. I love playing sports. I loved playing softball. I would still be playing softball if Jalen hadn't kicked me off the softball team for throwing my glove at a guy who intentionally walked in slow pitch softball. Jalen seemed uncalled for to kick me out of the entire league for that. Did I call him some names? Maybe. I don't know. I don't remember. It's a long time ago. I kicked out of the league. Loved playing flag football. Would still do flag football if I was in Spokane with the guys. Would still want to do that. I just love playing sports. And this is why. Because my memories of my dad when it came to sports was not him coaching my teams. It was that my dad in his 30s and in his 40s when I was growing up was going out and playing sports. That was cool to me. That was awesome to me. On Sunday afternoon, my dad would leave the house. I was like, okay, where's Dad going? He's going to play tennis with Jim Rathbun. And I thought, that's awesome. That's awesome. Dad's going to play tennis. Tuesday night, Wednesday night, whatever night it would be. Staff versus the students at the boarding school I grew up in Venezuela. I'm a little tiny kid, not old enough to play in the games. But Dad would put me in the Blazer. We'd drive down to the boys' dorm if I was lucky enough to stay up late this night. And I get to watch him, my dad, and like some other staff members with a bunch of the high school kids who, they're gods to you at this age. They're the basketball team, and my dad's out there playing and scoring on guys, and getting steals and making great passes. And I'm like, this is the coolest. My dad's so cool. Softball. He was always out there playing softball. He was always one of the best guys in the softball field. But I could see it. My dad loved it. My dad loved it, and more than him coaching me how to play basketball, him showing me passion for sports by leading with an example is why I love it like I do today. And I've never talked to my dad about that, but I owe him for that more than I could ever explain. And it's one of the things I appreciate the most in my life. And I know this probably sounds dorky and weird and unthought of because I'm uncomfortable talking about it a little bit because I don't do that kind of stuff when it comes to my dad. But it's a huge deal to me because one of my favorite things in my life is my passion for sports and the friendships I've made through sports and the fact that I've wanted to play sports and I've played sports my whole life because I loved it and I loved it and I fell in love with all this stuff and I keep doing it because when I was young, my dad did it and I thought it was really cool and I thought it looked fun and my dad had fun doing it and that was the example that I needed. So I just, maybe just something out there to think about for that maybe parents like me who get into that world of I don't really want to coach my kids. I've coached a ton of youth sports in my life. I've coached basketball. I've coached basketball camps. I've coached tennis at different levels of high school. I've coached a lot of sports. It's great. It's fine. It's fine. It's cool to get to make a difference in kids' lives. I don't, the main part for coaching for me is more of that getting to, especially when I was coaching the tennis, is more of making the relationship with the kids and letting them know that sports are an awesome activity and they're really good for you, but it's not the end all be all. And we're here to help you get better, but it's also just helping humans mature. And I love that part of sports. I really do. Cause I think there's high value in playing organized sports and teamwork and all that stuff. But anyhow, I think there's parents who are like, well, I don't want to get involved in that. And I just wanted to give you a different perspective on it. That's, if you're feeling a little down by that, maybe you don't play, but you have a passion for it. I think just your passion in sports, however you do it, is what's going to lead your kids to play. And I will say this. I was talking to Scott, my cousin Scott, who works in the school district works at a school up in Spokane. He was like, man, I see a lot of people burn out of sports because of pressure put on by parents who are extreme about it and are pushing and doing a lot with it. And they see a lot of burnout on kids and they're just done. And I guess that's another thing I'd say thanks to Dad about. My parents were very supportive about my sports. My mom and Dad were at my games. Of course, my dad he was coaching, but they were very supportive about it. They always cheered me on. They were always excited about it for me. But it was never what made our family. I was as diehard into sports as anyone that I know, but that was never the makeup of our family. We came home and we still had time to sit down around the table and have dinner and play board games. And I got to nerd out with my nerd games and watch fun TV shows with my sister. And, behind the scenes, it was all sports for me, but it was kind of cool to have the rest of it. I don't know. I just appreciate my dad. I appreciate my dad a ton, how he did it. I know it's different from other people. So that's a different perspective on it. Not saying your way is wrong or right. Not saying the way my parents did it is wrong or right, but it really worked out well for me. I just wanted to give my dad a shout out for that. And did I take the bait? Maybe. Did I make someone mad? Probably. But, someone was fishing out there in the comments. Coach. That's all they put. Sometimes people can put an email. If you go to seanslife.com, you can leave a comment there. I wish I had a way to track where that came from. I'm guessing Spokane people, just so you know. Also, speaking of Spokane people, I do want to say, because again, here in Lexington, it's a really big deal. Parents in sports and coaching and all this stuff and the kids' sports program. I guess one of the reasons it's a little weird to me and foreign to me, and I'm trying to get used to it and trying to figure out how to find my way into that world and enjoy it without being bothered by it or just bored with it. Man, in Spokane, I had a wild group of friends who were the other way. Right, Alexis, Mark Axton, Shan Furch, Andy, Andrew. I think Scott, Ryan, to an extent, both of them. I had a bunch of names that I can't think of now. Walter. I have a million names. But all of my buddies in Spokane played, we played 5-on-5 up until the time I left. We played basketball up until I left. Wes, oh my gosh, Wes Larson. Shout out, give you the full name. He has kids out of high school, got through high school with them. They're all sports people, but that man played basketball 3 or 4 times a week. Okay, that dude never quit. Supported his kids through all the sports, but that man played for an eternity. He is 1,000,000 years old. Wes is. Anyways, I was surrounded. Mike Hart. I was surrounded by people who never stopped playing. Dordahl. Well, Cheadle, all the Stocktons, all these guys that I played hoops with a lot who just never quit. Okay, whatever. I took the bait on the comment. Let's read other ones. Let's get out of here. Sharon said this over on Spotify. You can comment on Spotify. Do you know anyone in Spokane who does senior photos? Sharon, I used to. My cousin-in-law, my best friend Ryan, his wife Alyssa used to do senior photos. I don't believe she does anymore. She's high-end wedding photography now. Really, really good, really high-end. She's one of the best in the business. So I don't think she does senior photos anymore. And Sharon, outside of that, I don't think I know anyone who does. I wish I did. If someone does, now is the time. If you listen to my big rant there and you're still here, now is the time to let me know, and I'll tell Sharon. Ian said this when it came to talking about time. A year is a year is a year. He said, they scientifically proved that time isn't a constant as we like to believe. It's more fluid like water. There's this thing called time dilation, and it's why astronauts physically age slower in space, explained by Einstein's theory of relativity, which is why some people say blink and it's gone, while others go, yeah, no, it's eternal heck. I don't know how to find this. It sounds weird. It sounds weird that my hour and the person sitting next to me, those hours could be different. But I don't know that I'm going to challenge Einstein. He's smarter than me. Yvonne said, when it comes to subs, I like Jersey Mike's. Have different sub orders depending on what I feel like, not always the same. Jimmy John's is good too. All right, so shout out to Jersey Mike's, shout out to Jimmy John's. I like both those. I love Jersey Mike's. And finally, Roberta over on YouTube said, the slip and slide story shows that it was worth it. Get yourself, it was. I don't know the price, but it was worth it. Get yourself a grommet applicator and put grommets in those holes to stop the tearing. Grommets will reinforce those holes to help it last better. Think of the metal grommets on a tarp. Oh, interesting. Okay, Roberta, that's actually a great idea. A lot of these things in the slip and slide are already ripped, but I could make new holes and put the grommets in. I really like that idea. I really like that idea a lot. Thank you. That's going to get a thumbs up on YouTube and hearts. All right, if you want to bait me into talking for way too long about my dad and probably making people mad about my thoughts on youth sports in America, go ahead and leave a comment over at seanslife.com, YouTube, or on Spotify. Thanks for listening.